this was the bigger question, right? And this is probably not the exact way that you would have done, seen the question. So this is a very simple one, although this contained, 8 marks, right? VDD, mu and Cox, VTH, and everything is given here, right? Lambda and all that. And so W by L is given for both. And here the question is if your V in DC. So the reason I'm discussing the answers is what happens many times is some of the students, even though they've got it wrong, they don't take the effort to learn it the right way. And so what happens is if in the final exam I ask a similar question, the same kind of marks end up being, scored. So I want all of you to at least learn it. You might have got certain things right, so don't get discouraged. It's fine. We have one more quiz. You have a finals, and you have a project which is going to be, for 40 marks, right? So definitely, just because of one quiz, you're not going to get badly affected. So just take things a bit more seriously. I understand sometimes it happens that in between you make a mistake. For example, transconductance, you make a mistake, then a lot of things get changed. So just pay attention. You need to get it right. So that is the thing. Okay. So let me discuss the answers, but also please, those of you who got it wrong, please learn it correctly so that you don't really lose your time. Okay, so all of you would not have got the same question because I set multiple versions of each question. Okay, so Moodle will randomly assign a particular version of each question. So don't be scared if you see different numbers here. Okay, but let's look at the way of solving. So this is a very simple amplifier. It's a common source with a diode connected load, which we saw in class, right? Here what is given is your V in DC, that is the DC voltage at the input is 1 volt, right? And I've asked what is the DC bias, output bias voltage. So how do you do this? Basically what you need to do is, right? So you are given something like this, right? The V in DC is 1 volt, right? So the drain current ID, let's call it M1, M2, ID1 equal to ID2 is equal to what? Mu and Cox by 2 W over L VGS minus VTH the whole square. That's it, right? Now with this you will get a certain amount of drain current. Now for this drain current, which is equal to mu P Cox divided by 2 W over L of, this is the transistor 1, this is transistor 2, the VSG minus VTHP the whole square. So from this you can calculate the VSG, and the DC bias V out DC is what? Nothing but VDD minus VSG. This is what is going to be your output DC bias point, right? So fairly straightforward one, just using the square law equation. And what else is asked here? So, and I've given here also, neglect the channel length modulation to make the calculations easier. Transconductance of the amplifier is the transconductance of M1. So you can use any of the formulas which you have, right? You can use mu and Cox, W over L, VGS minus VTH. Straightforward, you'll get the transconductance. Output impedance of the amplifier, I've told include the channel and modulation effect. Now, the output impedance which we saw in class is, if you look up, you have 1 over GM2, and look down, you have R02. So I have given enough margin so that if you even take just 1 over GM2, that is still be marked correct. If you take 1 over GM2 parallel to 1 by R0, that also will be correct. Or if you take 1 by R0 parallel to that will also be right. Okay. Now, what is the gain of the amplifier? I also gave another thing. Don't get scared if it's less than 1. So GM multiplied by the output impedance, you will get around 0.85. And total capacitance at the output I have given is around 20 picofarad. What is the bandwidth? Bandwidth is what? 1 by 2 pi, the output impedance multiplied by the load capacitance, and it turns out to be this particular value. And what is the minimum voltage to which the output voltage can swing? Obviously, M1 has to be in saturation. This we saw in class. So it can go down to the VD sat of M1, which is basically VGS minus VTH, right? VGS is 1 volt, VTH is 0.7, it's 0.3. So even for this, I gave a little bit of margin in case somebody calculated differently. Input referred noise, we know the, and for this to make it easier, I even gave the multiple choice question, right? So that you, even if you get somewhere close to this, you can, directly take the right answer. Okay. Now, any doubts in this particular part? Any questions? So it is 4 kT gamma GM1, 4 kT gamma GM2, add both, multiplied by R out squared divided by GM squared R out squared. R out squared gets cancelled out. So you have 4 kT gamma times GM1 plus GM2 divided by GM1 squared. Right? Yeah, somebody had a question?
Yes, sir. Actually, sir, the different value of gains are leading to different input noise.
Okay, how much did you get? Like, I mean, 4.18 is quite far away from, 3.07.
I was getting 8 to the power 10 to the power minus 18, and there were two options, so I left it there in itself.
How much gain did you get? Or rather, what was your transconductance?
I don't remember, sir, actually, but I was getting 10 to the power minus 18 in this input referred noise, and there were two options, so I left it.
Yeah, I mean, you should be getting somewhere around 4.18 because see, GM is straightforward, right? So the final expression,
Yes,
you'll get 4 kT gamma times GM1 plus GM2 divided by GM1 squared. So that's the thing. Okay. The way you'll get this 3.07 is if you divide by GM2 squared. So that's the way I set the other options. Okay. All right. Any other doubts, questions? Okay, let's move to this current mirror thing. So this is a very simple one. So I said this is the circuit given here. I have given VA, which is the VGS of M1. All the transistors are identical and all of them are carrying the same amount of current, which means that all the VGSs are the same, right? The VGS for all the transistor is 0.6. The threshold voltage for all the transistor is 0.4. What is the minimum output voltage needed for the current mirror, right? And I've also given the hint here, no systematic mismatch. So no systematic mismatch means VB should be equal to VA, right? VDS, no mismatch is there. So which means this has to be 0.6 and this has to be the overdrive voltage. What is the overdrive voltage here? 0.6 minus 0.4, 0.2. So the answer is 0.8. Okay. So similarly, of course, I gave other values also, but this is a very straightforward, easy one. And I noticed that many of you, unfortunately, had got this wrong. Okay. Yeah, this low voltage current mirror, I had already given this as a practice problem. Yeah, someone had a question?
Yes, sir. Sir, in the previous question, so can you
Yeah.
open that multiple choice? Sir, here since M0 and M1 both are like similar like transistors, so want for the like same IREF, want to get same VGS and same VDS?
Yes, of course. That
Sir,
is what I'm
then,
telling you.
yes,
VA.
sir.
Yeah.
Sir, that V at like below that IREF, it should be 2 into VA, right?
Here it will be 2 times VA. You're
Yes,
right.
sir. Sir,
Okay.
then if there
But I'm
is no...
asking about the current mirror, the other side, output
Yes, sir.
voltage.
Yes, sir. So if there is no mismatch, like then M0 and M3 both should have the same VDS.
No, no, no. The current is set by M2 and M1, right? In this one, this VGS and this VDS is what is going to set the current. This one can go down. That is not a problem because this is just a cascode. This is not going to control the current. What is going to control the current is only M2 here, right?
Sir, like M0 and M3 aren't the similar, sir?
M0 and M3 have the same VGS. M0 and M3 need not have the same VDS.
Sir, but there is no systematic mismatch. Like it can be
There won't be
true for...
systematic. See, what is the current flowing in the output? The current flowing in the output is, mu n CX WL VGS minus VTH of M2, right, multiplied by 1 by lambda VDS2, right? Now this sets the current. So you can think of this thing as a M3 with a current source at the bottom with some R0, okay? So M3 will really not set your current. The current is set by your M2. And the mismatch happens because VDS of M1 is not equal to VDS of M2. If VDS of M1 and VDS of M2 are the same, the current through M1 and M2 are going to be the same. This M3 is basically making sure that both the VDSs are the same. And the output impedance is improved. That's it. This can go down up to its VDSAT.
Sir, but like if the current is same in M2 and M3 and VGS is also similar to the left hand side, so sorry, VGS is similar, so VDS would also be similar, right? From the square law
But I've asked for
expression.
the minimum output voltage. It can come down. So what basically will happen is like it will. So the output impedance becomes so high, you know. So even though you reduce the voltage, the difference in current will be very minimal.
Okay, sir.
Okay. The output impedance becomes so high that it's almost like a flat line. So that is why if you look at the textbook also, they'll say the V out min is the VDS of this. Here it is VGS, okay, which is VA plus the VDSAT of your M3 transistor.
Okay, sir. So like since it was saying like current mirror, so I took an exact that thing and I got the 2 VA to be the minimum. Like
Yeah, 2 VA is 1.2, which is not there in the option. No?
Yes, sir. So like that was a little terrifying in the exam, sir. Like it was not there in the option.
Okay. Okay. All right. Let's move to the next question. This one I had actually given in the practice problems. Okay. This is again quite simple, right? Like what is asked is only two questions. I1 is given and VA is designed to be 150 millivolt. So VB should be I also told that all the transistors are going to be identical, right? All the transistors. So that means WL of all the transistors is the same, just 10 by 0.5, right? So VB should be equal to VGS of M0 plus VA, which is 150 millivolt. Now, if you look at this point, you already have one VGS coming in here. 150 millivolt should be this VGS minus I1 times RB. I think we saw that in the class also. So you just equate that and you will get the value of RB. And output impedance, again, we did it in the class. It is going to be R0 of 0, R0 of 1 plus GM of 0 into R0 0 into R0 1. Since the transistors are all identical, it will boil down to 2R0 plus GM R0 squared. That's it. Okay. That was this question, and this I had already given in the assignment also. This one actually, I thought this I will give as a easy question for people to score marks easily. But unfortunately, people had got stuff here wrong. Okay, it's a very straightforward, just direct application of formula. Right, this is transconductance formula. You can directly apply output impedance 1 by lambda ID. Intrinsic gain is GMR0, right? And yeah, these are all the relationships, of course. And this I thought would be like, you know, an easy question, scoring question. And I had given 4 questions here, and similar pattern I had given even in the practice problems. And in fact, I didn't want to make it as tough as the practice problems. I thought I will just give one value of Vx and ask you to compute the rest. Okay. So I gave this question, this one. Yeah.
So in the first question.
Yeah. This one.
When we calculate VGS value.
This one. Okay.
Yes, sir. If Vx was 1 in my case, and I got VGS value to be 0.66, which is less than VTH.
How will you get 0.66?
Like it is a resistor divided type of thing, right, sir? So
correct. You have 2 volt. So 3 volt here. This is 1 volt here. 2. So 2 volt into 10k divided by 15k.
Like at the V gate, it would be 0.6, right? 2 by 3. The VGS would be 2 by 3. Right?
Of, yeah. So just a minute. Let me check what I had given. Did everyone get, just a minute, let me check the thing.
So it should be 2/3 into 2, sir. I think 4
Yeah,
by
2/3 into 2. So it will be, 0.6 into 2, 1.3 something.
Okay, sir. Yes, sir.
Right? 3 minus 1 is 2. 2 into 2/3. Right? 4 by 3, 1.33.
Okay, sir.
Right? Okay. Because when I set the thing, I worked out everything, and because that's how I could set the paper. Right. So here it is quite simple. What is asked is what is the current IX, and basically the current IX is what is set by this VGS. In fact, this is a very simple problem, right? And then the transconductance and which value of Vx will turn off the device. So again, that is to show that how where will it? This is actually a very simple one. The first one, this one I had given. So here also it's quite simple. I think what is the voltage across the current source, right? That is this node voltage. So that is going to be 2 minus VGS, right? So the current I1 is split between two things. It is going to be IX plus Vx minus this voltage divided by R1. So you have current addition here. You just write that equation, you'll get a quadratic equation. Solve the quadratic equation, you'll get the answer. Right? This one is also the same thing. In fact, I think the answers for the second and the third one basically are the same. Right here also, there are two current components for I1, one coming through resistor, one coming through the transistor. You write the total equation, you'll get a quadratic equation. Solve the quadratic equation, two solutions you'll get. One will obviously be a wrong solution, the other solution will definitely work. Okay. This one also is basically I1 has two parts, one through R1 and one through IX. Again, quadratic equation, solve it and you'll get the answer. Okay. In fact, I had given one representative problem of this in the assignment, and the assignment was a little more difficult because they had asked trace as Vx changes what happens and things like that. I had taken it from Razavi only. But I thought for the exam, I will not give such a tough one. I'll just give for one value of Vx and then, just solve it. Okay. So please do take the practice problems a little seriously. Because if you had done that, you would have written that combined equations, and that would help you guys. All right. Okay. Any doubts? Any other questions? So don't get frustrated or don't get discouraged that maybe because of different factors you couldn't do well. I will promise that the next quiz and as well as the end semester will have a reasonable length of time, and also make sure that it's not going to be very lengthy. But these are important things because many of the things that I asked you, these are the fundamentals. Like even if you go to the industry, you should be able to look at, for example, that current two paths are there. You should know how to kind of formulate. You should know how to formulate expressions. For example, this question, this common source and all, you should be able to look at a circuit and be able to find out, okay, this is the gain, this is the bandwidth, this is how the noise will behave, and all these things. You should just look at the circuit and be able to quickly tell. Of course, for the purpose of exam, we do these hand calculations with square law models. In practice, what happens is we depend on simulators, but then the concepts all remain the same. Okay, so don't get discouraged. Do well. And I think you have one more quiz, you have end semester, and you also have a big component, which is your project. So do your project well. Definitely, I think you can make up on your grades part. Okay. And I also see towards the end, if some normalization needs to be done for quiz 1, I'll think about it, but probably not at this point of time. Probably when it comes to grading, depending on your performance in quiz 2 and end semester, and your project. If you're doing it well, I might try to do some normalization on quiz 1 so that, unnecessarily your grades are not affected. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So, yeah.
Sir, the third question, can you repeat once? Like there is little doubt there. So that two paths were there, ID and IX, VA was here, sir. This question, sir. No, sir, not this one. The other one. Yes, sir. Here, sir, which you gave in assignment, sir. So, sir, like here, sir, can we say that this is a current mirror, sir?
This is a current. This is a cascode current mirror.
Sir, sir,
Okay,
how do you
so-
know that?
Okay. So the thing is, this is the bias generation for your cascode current mirror. Okay, so this Vx will basically go, and maybe if I just draw this here, it will be easier. See, this is a low voltage cascode, right? So which means what you basically need. You have a cascode, you have to generate the cascode bias also, right? Now what happens is that this is connected here, but you need a VB here, right? We talked about this, like you need VB to be generated, correct? Now how to generate this VB? Now the way to generate is you put one more current source, and then you have a resistor and like this, and then you have one VGS. Okay, so this is your current mirror. So this is your IREF, this is your IOUT. So what was not shown in the question was this last part. Okay, but what was shown was basically, let's say this was called as X. So what is happening is this is your VGS, right? And this VGS is generated like this, and which also includes this cascode current mirror. And here you have, this is VGS again, and this is VGS again. So here what you will have is 2 times VGS minus, let's call it I1, let's call this RB. So this node voltage VB can be written as what? This voltage minus the IR drop here. So this voltage is VGS plus VGS. So you have 2 times VGS minus I1 times RB. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, so you set this in such a way that it is equal to 1 VGS and this VA that was requested, asked for. So this should be set to VGS plus VA. So which basically means that VA is equal to VGS minus I1 times RB. So given the dimensions, you can find this one. This was given. This was also given. You just needed to find RB.
Okay, sir. Then if this is done, then only I1 equal to IREF, right?
Not yeah. I1 equal to IREF, yes.
Okay, sir. So like there nothing was mentioned in the question whether it's a current mirror or not. So
Is it?
sir,
Given that it was understood, and we had I think discussed it in class also, I believe. So, or rather a little briefly. So, okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, I had put low voltage cascode current mirrors as the title. Anyway, so let me see towards the end of the course, like when I'm doing the final grading, if some normalization needs to be done for quiz 1, I'll do that. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. So don't get discouraged. It's fine. I mean, even when we all learned, like we learned by making mistakes and then learning from it, and then that's the learning process. So don't worry. I'll do some normalization. Okay. That's some scaling I will do for this quiz 1.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So let's go to the subject. So don't, get discouraged or develop an aversion to the subject or anything. Just learn and keep going with it. Definitely you will all do quite well. Okay. Right. So now let us continue what we were doing earlier. We were looking at, if you look at the previous thing, we were looking at, the bandwidth and gain bandwidth trade-off. We looked at, all these noise and other things, right? Now, what we will look at today is there is one more, a couple of more topologies of common source. Now, let's start with this. It's called common source with what is called as an active load. Now we have seen common source with resistor load. We saw common source with diode connected load. Diode connected load, we saw, the NMOS version, the PMOS version, NMOS version, PMOS version. We also looked at common source with a current source load, right? So all that we completed before your quiz. Now, what is an active load? Now, if I draw the circuit, you'll be surprised at what it is actually. Now, when we say active load, it means that the load also takes part in the transconductance. Okay. So basically what we are doing is this V in and this is V out. Now, what is the structure? Like anyone?
Inverter, sir.
This is an inverter. Okay. This is nothing but an inverter, right? So if you look at the inverter's transfer characteristics, right? How does it look like? Let's say this is your V in and this is your V out. This all of you would have studied in digital VLSI, right? This is how it will be, right? So when V in is low, it is at VDD, and then you have this transition region, and then you go to ground. Now, obviously, for analog, you cannot use this region. Okay. Now, in this sloping region, okay, in this region where it slopes, it behaves like an amplifier. Got it? Now, it has a certain slope here, and therefore you will get a pretty good gain, right? Now, if you can bias your transistor here in that transition region of your inverter, it behaves as an excellent current source. Sorry, excellent amplifier. Okay. Of course, it is over a very small region, but in that region, it behaves like a good amplifier. All right. Now, what is the gain? Now, you can look at the gain in two ways. Okay, one is to do the small signal equivalent circuit, and I leave that as an exercise to you guys. So please draw the small signal equivalent circuit of both this NMOS and the PMOS, and derive the gain, which is possible to do. It's easy. You will end up with the same thing. But intuitively, I want to help you get an understanding. Now, if you look at this M1 and M2, where is the transconductance? In this case, the transconductance, both the transistors are going to act as transconductors, right? So for example, if there is a signal like this, as this input voltage increases around, let's say this is the bias point, let's assume that it is biased in the midpoint of the inverter, right? Now, as the input voltage increases, what happens? The current through this one increases by GM times small Vn, right? Now, at the same time, what happens to this transistor? The VSG is reducing because as this voltage increases, the small VSG, the AC VSG is reducing. Now, because this AC VSG is reducing, the current through this one is going to reduce, right? So, you will basically have lesser current flowing here, right? And therefore, you can, correspondingly, it is going to pump lesser amount of current. Okay. So, which means that, let's say you always have a load capacitance or some load here, right? So, this is going to pump lesser amount of current, and this is going to draw more amount of current, which means what is happening? Correspondingly, the current drawn from this, it is 2 times GMVN. Correct. So, basically, this, or rather, we can just say, let's say GM1 plus GM2 times Vn. Okay. In other words, you can also say negative current can be written as a current drawn in this direction with GM2 times Vn. Two ways of understanding. One is it is going to produce lesser current that can be thought of as current going in the opposite direction in the same magnitude, right? So the overall transconductance for the stage is nothing but GM1 plus GM2, because both are active devices and both are acting. Now, can you tell me what is the R out? Can you tell what is the R out? Come on, guys, you can guess. If you look up, what do you see? If you look down, what do you see?
Sir, R01 parallel to R02.
Correct. R01 parallel to R02, because if you look down, you see a transistor in saturation. You look up, you see another transistor in saturation. and you're looking into the drains of both transistors, right? Not the sources. You're looking at the drain of the PMOS and the drain of the NMOS. So the R out is going to be R01 parallel to R02. Okay. And the gain is basically going to be GM1 plus GM2 multiplied by R01 parallel to R02. Okay. Now you can verify this by working out the full small signal equivalent circuit. I would encourage you to do it, and you will end up with the same answer. Okay. All right. Now, what will be the bandwidth? Can you tell me?
One by 2 pi.
1 by 2 pi R out into this total CL, right? R out into CL. This is going to be a bandwidth. Now, what about noise? You have two transistors like this, right? You are going to have two noise components. This is 4kT gamma GM2. This is, let's say, 4kT gamma GM1, right? And let's say you have a component here, K by WL Cox F, right? Let's call it Kp. This is Kn by WL Cox F, right? Now, what is your In out squared? Can you tell me?
So summing the two current noises.
Yeah, 4kT gamma times Gm plus Gm2 plus Kn by WL Cox F multiplied by what? Gm1 squared, right? Plus Kp divided by WL Cox times F multiplied by what? Gm2 squared, right? This is the total output short circuit or noise output power spectral density, right? Noise output current power spectral density. Now, what is Vn out squared? It's going to be In out multiplied by R out squared. What is Vn in? The input referred noise voltage per spectral density. That's going to be Vn out squared divided by the total transconductance, which is Gm1 plus Gm2 the whole squared into R out squared. Correct. Now, obviously, R out squared will get cancelled out, and you are left with what? Vn in squared is nothing but 4kT gamma Gm1 plus Gm2 divided by Gm1 plus Gm2 the whole squared, right? So you can get rid of this top term, correct? Plus, of course, you'll have KNWL Cox F Gm1 squared divided by Gm1 squared plus Gm2 squared plus Kp Gm2 squared divided by WL Cox F Gm1 squared plus Gm2 squared. Okay, this is what you would get. Okay, so this is how it is. This is what is called as a common source with an active load. Now, one problem is that this one, it is quite sensitive to supply noise. Okay, so we will see that a little later, but yeah. Okay, now let us move to the last, variant of common source. Now, this is common source with source degeneration. Now, what is source degeneration? Now, let's say you have some RD, you have some this thing, you have some RS here, right? This is your Vin. Now, when you put something at the source of your transistor, right, you are going to degenerate it, right? This is what is called a source degeneration. Now, even in BJTs, we would have studied about common emitter with emitter degeneration, right? So this is a common source with, that is basically you have a resistor at the source. Now, one easy way to understand this is, let's say you have Vin, let's say Vin increases. Now, what happens when Vin increases? Obviously, the current increases, right? So V in increase means the VGS increases, resulting in the drain current increasing, right? Now, as drain current increases, what happens? This VRS increases, right? Let's call this as VRS, the voltage across the source resistor, which means what? The gate to source voltage now starts to reduce because gate to source voltage is here, right? VGS is here. So your gate went up, now your source is also going up. So it means that the gate to source voltage down, which means that the drain current comes down. In other words, when you put a degeneration, the circuit always tries to bring it back to the original state, right? It tries to, it's a negative feedback system, right? You did one disturbance in the system, but the circuit or the system worked in such a way that it is coming back in the opposite direction. It is trying. So basically, we all know that this is nothing but a negative feedback system. Now, from negative feedback system theory, we know that the closed loop gain is always lesser than the open loop gain. So you can think of this as common source as being the open loop system and this source degeneration forming your feedback network. So what we can definitely expect is the gain is less than a common source, correct? Because of the source degeneration that is happening, okay? And also what will happen is obviously the other benefits of having, the other benefits will all basically come into the picture. Now let us do the small signal equivalent circuit of this particular thing. Now how to draw the small signal equivalent circuit? First let's draw this is the circuit, right? You have gate, you have, GM VGS, we'll have R0, and you have RD going to ground. This is your drain, this is your Vout, right? This is your source. So this becomes your small signal VGS. And then what happens? You have RS going to ground. Now you can also include the GMB VBS. Basically, it will just come in parallel with this one, right? Let's do that. Let's call this as GMB VBS, and let's say the bulk is grounded. Okay, this is your. Let's call this as VS, right? This is your source terminal. Okay. Now, what are we interested in? We are interested in the first. Let's look at the gain, right? So input is given between gate and ground, right? So V in can be written as what? VGS plus VS, or in other words, VGS can be written as V in minus VS. Okay. Now, for the time being, let's say if we neglect R0, what is VS? Rather, if we neglect R0, what happens to Vout? Vout can be written as GM times VGS plus GMB VBS. These are the two current sources pulling the current through RD minus of this one, right? Now you can substitute for, now what is VS here? VS is nothing but these two current flowing through RS. So it is nothing but GM VGS plus GMB VBS, these two currents together flowing into RS. Now substitute this in this expression. Yeah, sorry.
Sir, in the Vout, won't there be RT plus RS, sir?
No, it will not be RD plus RS because see the current direction is like this. Right?
Yes, sir. So RS is also coming in series with RD if we connect the ground of RD and RS.
Correct. But we are taking the output voltage only here, no? Only across RD.
Okay, fine.
Okay. So Vout will be, you're partially right in the sense that Vout will be equal to VS plus the voltage across the drain and the source. Okay.
Okay, sir. Yes.
All right. So this is the thing. So here, of course, what is VGS? VGS we saw is V in minus Vs. So you can substitute it and you can write the expression. You will basically get GM, you will get V out to be something like minus GM times V in into RD divided by 1 plus GM plus GMB times RS. I think it will be, sorry. So the gain will basically be minus GM plus GMB times divided by 1 plus GM plus GMB times RS. Okay. Now, if, for example, if bulk is connected to source, then VBS is equal to 0. Then what you will get, the gain will end up being minus GM times RD divided by 1 plus GM times RS. In other words, you will see that this factor 1 plus GM times RS being, you know, the loop gain of the system, which is by the factor by which it is basically degrading your otherwise what will be your open loop gain. Okay. So you have minus GMRD divided by 1 plus GMRS. So your gain gets reduced. Now, can you just look at this thing and tell me what will be the output impedance? Can you look at this? So if you look up, what do you see?
So RD.
RD, right? If you look up, you have RD parallel to, what do you see down? Now you can compare it with your cascode current mirror, right? So in your cascode current mirror, what did you have? You had a transistor with some R0 at the bottom, right? So if you compare it with like this, what will be your, this one? It will be RS plus R0 plus GM R0 RS, which will of course approximately be RD. This is what it will end up being, okay? Because when you have, you know, a transistor with some impedance at the source of it, and you're going to look at it from the drain, you'll get the same thing. Now you can prove that by doing the same small signal equivalent circuit, right? You can put a test voltage source and you can measure the current and you will find the same thing. In fact, if you look at the derivation that we did for the cascode current mirror, we did the same thing. We said we had a transistor and then we have basically R0 alone here, right? It will end up being the same small signal equivalent circuit and you'll get the same thing, okay? So RS plus R0 plus GM R0 times RS, okay? All right. So this is your output impedance, okay? Now, same way you can calculate bandwidth and all the other things, okay? So noise and other things can be calculated, okay? So any doubts, any questions? I'll conclude the class with this. So don't get discouraged. So just I will do some normalization, okay? So don't worry about it. Just concentrate on the subject, learn the subject, and sometimes, you know, it can be a kind of a wake-up call where we, you know, understand some concepts even better. And I'm pretty sure that you all will do much better in your next exam, okay? And those who had mailed, whom I have not yet responded to, yesterday I was on leave, so I didn't have the time to get to it. So I'll do it today, hopefully, and I'll get back to you. And yesterday, since I was on leave, I couldn't take the class also. So if there is a possible slot for an extra class, we'll try to do.
Sir?
Yeah, Akash, yeah.
I had a doubt in, I was facing some ambiguity in the second assignment simulation exercise.
Okay. What was the thing?
Sir, in the first question, we had to.
It is the current mirror assignment, right?
Yes, sir, current mirror assignments. First question, that was PMOS based current mirror source.
Okay.
There when.
Yeah. Which one? The second
Yes, sir,
one?
this first one. First one.
First, okay.
Sir,
reference. Yeah.
This reference is source is connected from the VDD, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Sir, I did this thing for channel length of 180 nanometer for all the 4 transistors which we required. It was working fine. But when, sir, I increased the channel length to about 360, means doubling the channel length, and I even scaled the widths also and checked for different widths as well. There was some sudden increase in current at some voltage, at the large voltages.
Sudden, at what, up to what voltage did you sweep?
Sir, can I screen share? Possible.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, let me stop sharing.
Sir, actually, I think you have to make me a presenter for
So
screen
again,
share.
just a minute. I'll just change the meeting settings. You can present. Okay, everyone. Right. See if you can present now. Just a minute. It's still saving. Right. Yeah. Can you see if you can present now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. This was the thing I was seeing. Can you see the screen, sir?
Yeah. So you have 10 micro going into. You scaled the widths also, right?
Yes, sir. I scaled the widths.
Widths also. Right?
This is the first. This is the first circuit with 180 nanometer channel length, and here I did it for 360 nanometer. The blue one is for 360 nanometer. It's just increasing beyond some values.
Okay. P18, N18. Okay. 10 micro. You're getting. You go down, it is increasing so much. Where do you plot the thing? How did you plot the current? IS of M8. Okay.
Yes, sir. This one and IS of M4. This one was working fine. There was some slope, so that was expected. But here, this increase I am not able to understand. I think one of us also simulated for different lengths. He found that it was nearly about 330. I think Prince did it.
Yes, sir.
After
I also
330, this
faced the same problem. After 270, it is going like this.
After 270 nano.
Yes, sir.
but actually, sir, if the channel length is increased, I think it should have the slope shouldn't have gone much. It should have reduced.
Some problem with the thing. Okay. Yeah, last year I had given the students a 65 nanometer library. This year I thought we'll do this 180 nanometer one. Okay, this is strange. This is definitely some, because your simulation settings and all look fine. Okay. Yeah, I think this is some issue, man. Maybe it is not able to handle, lengths greater than this 270 or something. I think some problem in the model then. Yeah, I mean, SEL's models have been not, the greatest and the best, but this is something not expected. Probably it is not that well modeled, and as you. Okay, then what you do is you just stick to. Have I asked something like you have to do for higher lengths?
Not really, sir. I think you were just asking, just ask for a current source.
Right. Okay. Yeah, maybe then restrict to less than 270 then. That's the thing.
Yes, sir. And you asked for some these things.
Yeah, maybe from 180 you take it up to 250 and then
Okay,
show
sir.
how the output impedance is improving. Okay.
Yes, sir. And sir, one second. This this V block, it should be given like this only, right?
Yeah. You have a voltage source and you're sweeping that voltage source. That's it.
Okay, sir.
Try plotting the drain current and seeing it should be the same, but I guess you would have tried, right? The drain current of the two transistors.
Yes, sir. It's the same, just the signs are different. That's
Sign
it.
is different. Yeah, that is fine. Okay. But if it's the same behavior, probably something wrong with the modeling. sometimes they will do modeling only up to a certain length and then kind of do extrapolation beyond that. But 360 should be modeled. It's not a very large this thing, or maybe, yeah, I don't know. Okay.
Yes, sir. In the model file, when you showed also, it was like it can handle up to 500 nanometer maximum. It was written, but I don't know why is this happening.
Right. Okay. Okay, then you just restrict to maybe 270 or 250. That should be fine. Good prints that you could find that limit also. Yeah. Okay, guys, and yeah, so all of you guys are there. Okay, 26. So this is, of course, apart from, maybe I can just stop the recording.